Hello friends, it's me and today let's watch Is Coke Healthy Now from the Food Terrors. Together, let's go. Let's start. Thank you.
Coca-Cola is changing forever. The current administration just announced that there were talks with Coke to change their sweetener from high fructose corn syrup to cane sugar. But what does this move actually mean? Well, believe me when I tell you, not much and a whole lot all at the same time. Hello Internet, welcome to Food Theory, the show with a host that's naturally sweet. And today,
Hello Internet, welcome to Food Theory. The host that is naturally sweet.
today we're talking about my favorite thing in the whole wide world, Coca-Cola. If you've been paying attention to the news recently, and let's face it, who isn't, the world is on fire, you may have caught wind of an announcement that Coca-Cola will be shifting their sweetener from high fructose corn syrup to cane sugar here in the US. Reason being, it's supposedly a healthier alternative. Now, using cane sugar isn't some weird out there idea. It's how Coca-Cola used to sweeten their drinks for years here in the US. Until 1984, when they made the switch over to high fructose corn syrup. And cane sugar is still the sweetener used in other parts of the world, like in Mexico, countries in South America, Europe, Asia, and Africa.
Now, one thing to mention is at the time of writing this episode, Coke has neither confirmed nor denied the announcement. But regardless, I wanted to jump in and talk about this because there's a lot of questions and uncertainties floating around social media about this move, and there are bigger ramifications here than meets the eye.
But to get there, we have to answer three big questions. 1. What are high fructose corn syrup and cane sugar? 2. Why does this move even matter? In other words, is cane sugar actually healthier than high fructose corn syrup? And once we have those two answers, we can tackle the big one. How will this move affect the US economy? And you're gonna wanna stick around till the end of the video, because there's actually a third option that Coca-Cola should switch to if they don't wanna doom us all.
In this era of healthy living we're in, you might hear of high fructose corn syrup and cane sugar quite a bit. My experience is usually seeing a food or drink proudly say it's made with real cane sugar and not high fructose corn syrup. I wouldn't be surprised if that's your experience either, because high fructose corn syrup has gotten a pretty bad rap here in the US. So what exactly is it? As the name suggests, high fructose corn syrup comes from the sweet potato. I'm kidding! Geez, tough crowd. It's actually a liquid sweetener made from corn. The process starts by milling corn. Milling is basically the fancy term for grinding something down into a powder. In the case of corn, it means taking whole kernels and breaking them apart to separate the useful stuff, like starch, protein, and oil. For high fructose corn syrup, we care about the starch. Once it's separated, it's broken down into glucose using enzymes. But here's the twist. Another enzyme is added to convert some of that glucose into fructose, the sweeter of the two sugars. The result is a syrup that's super sweet and easy to mix into drinks and processed foods. Depending on how sweet they want it, manufacturers adjust the blend, usually landing at either 42% or 55% fructose. But don't let the different percentages fool you. In either case, it's still high fructose corn syrup because regular corn syrup has zero fructose. So 42% is still way higher than zero. Cane sugar, on the other hand, comes from sugarcane, a tall, grassy plant often found in tropical areas. As a kid, I remember I'd get sugarcane from the local market and gnaw on that bad boy like it was nobody's business. It was a delicious post-soccer treat. Highly recommend. The process starts by crushing the cane to squeeze.
For us is 甘蔗水, which is sugarcane drink. So just the machine would squeeze out the juice out of it.
Out its juice, which is naturally loaded with sucrose. That juice is then boiled down to concentrate it, and as it cools, sugar crystals form. Those crystals are separated from the leftover syrup, aka molasses, dried, and voila! You've got cane sugar. Relatively simple process, which might be a factor in why it's seen as a healthier ingredient. It's processed, but not ultra processed. Speaking of which,
It's processed, but it's not ultra processed. Sorry.
does getting up and out feel like more and more of a process to you? Have a hard time focusing on anything? Well, focus on this!
Does this look familiar? Well, you need Gamer Sups. Gamer Sups GG energy drinks have vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and no sugar.
To get the energy you need to marathon watch Food Theory and get a discount, visit gamersups.gg/supsanthi and use the code SUPSANTHI to save 10% on Gamer Subs today. Now that you've gotten everything you need to get through the
So, thank you so much. Thank you so much for supporting this episode from the Food Terrors. Thank you.
The day. Let's get through some of these questions, shall we? Because now we know what they are and how we get each of these sweeteners, but the difference isn't just how we get them, but what makes them sweet to begin with. I mentioned them earlier, but there are 3 types of naturally occurring sugars: glucose, fructose, and sucrose. Glucose is the most basic sugar your body runs on, and it's your body's go-to energy source. You can find it in things like honey, fruits, and vegetables. Fructose is the sweetest naturally occurring sugar. You can also find it in honey and fruits, and it does provide energy for your body, but in a more roundabout way. Where pretty much every cell in your body can use glucose directly, fructose needs to make a stop in your liver first. These 2 sugars are what are called monosaccharides, the basic building blocks of carbohydrates. The 3rd type of sugar, sucrose, is what we call table sugar. Sucrose is what's known as a disaccharide. It's glucose and fructose joined together into a completely different molecule that your body has to break down in a completely different way. So what does this mean when it comes to cane sugar and high fructose corn syrup? Cane sugar is sucrose when you eat it. Your body has to break down that bigger molecule, the disaccharide, into the more basic components. This digestion starts in the mouth, but mainly happens in the small intestine with the enzyme called sucrase. It lines your small intestine and breaks down the sucrose into glucose and fructose for your body to absorb. High fructose corn syrup, despite the name, has both glucose and fructose, like cane sugar does, except they're not chemically bonded together in high fructose corn syrup. It's more of a situationship than a relationship, and in this case they're considered free. The health concerns come from some studies that suggest that the free fructose might be absorbed faster, hitting your liver quicker and making it work harder. See, when fructose hits the liver, it gets metabolized into glucose for your cells to use immediately, or into glycogen for short-term energy reserves. But when there's too much, your liver converts the excess into fat. The fat gets stored in the liver or sent to your bloodstream, where in both cases it can build up and lead to some serious problems. And when
aka blood clots, aka heart attack, aka GG. Higher chance of UGG in life. Sorry.
When it comes to these sorts of things, when it rains, it pours. Because your body has a natural way to stop you from consuming too much sugar, and that's insulin. Insulin is a hormone your body makes to help manage your glucose levels in your blood. It's also part of a system in your body that helps your brain know when you're full. Fructose, though, completely bypasses insulin. So when you eat or drink something high in fructose, your body doesn't get that insulin signal and you don't feel as full. So it's easy to take in way more than your body needs, leading to that fat development and other health concerns.
Now, with that information, you might be thinking, well, yeah, high fructose corn syrup is definitely less healthy then. But not really. Remember, sucrose is still half glucose, half fructose. Nutritionally speaking, they're identical, especially as far as your body's concerned. Part of the conversation here stems from a misconception, because in nature, sucrose usually is found in things that happen to fill you up more. 1, because you're actually eating something, not drinking it, and 2, because in things like fruits, it's usually—
He makes a very good point. It takes more effort for you to eat something, bite, versus, you get the point, don't you?
accompanied by water, fiber, and other nutrients that fill you up more and stop you from over-consuming.
But all of that flies out the window when it comes to Coke. When you're drinking the sugar, your body doesn't get more full from cane sugar or high fructose corn syrup, and the sugar content is the exact same. Take a look at Mexican Coke. 150 calories, 39 grams of sugar. American Coke has 140 calories, same 39 grams of sugar. Those last 10 calories seem to be in the sodium levels, which comes down to carbonation. In either case, you're drinking a ton of sugar, a ton of fructose, and your liver will dislike you all the same.
The only real difference actually comes down to a subjective one: taste. Now, me personally, I am a much bigger fan of Mexican Coke with cane sugar than American Coke with high fructose corn syrup.
To be fair, this sort of misconception is kind of understandable from the POV of the average folks that doesn't know better, and they are just going by, everybody's doing it, why not I do it? My parents have done it before, my parents told me this, my neighbors told me this, my friends told me this, my colleagues told me this, the news told me this, in which this bits and pieces of information that is not, how to say, not necessarily useful. Yeah.
I'm willing to blindly stand behind that statement with a blind taste test. Editors, transition. So this is how this little blind taste test is gonna go down. To see if I can actually pick out the different taste of the cane sugar to the high fructose corn syrup, we're gonna be testing 5 different cola products. We have Mexican Coke, Diet Coke, regular Coke, Coke Zero, and as a little curveball, Pepsi. My goal is to not pick the Pepsi and to see if I can pick out the cane sugar Coca-Cola from the other high fructose corn syrup by taste alone. So let's get started. All right, so I have been blindfolded with this very nice weighted eye blanket. I also have no idea what's going on here. The lovely Claudia has been helping me get this all together so that this is obviously a blind taste test. Claudia, they're right in front of me?
They're right in front of you. So you're gonna start on your left.
That's Diet Coke. I don't like Diet Coke because it's so very different and there's like a weird sweet aftertaste to it. Next one.
But you know who likes it?
Ooh. Oh, that just tastes good. I think that just tastes like regular Coke. It might taste like Coke Zero. Yeah, it's just, there's this sweetness there that's throwing me off because it tastes really, really good. And it makes me think it's the Mexican Coke. That's Mexican Coke. All right, that's Pepsi. That is 1000% Pepsi. I'll almost lock it in. No, that's Pepsi.
No, that's the last one.
This one tastes good and it tastes real. I think I can taste the cane sugar in this one.
You had previously said Mexican Coke for number 2.
No. Cup number 2 is regular Coke. It's much sweeter. Number 1 is Zero, number 2 is regular, number 3 is Diet, number 4 is Pepsi, number 5 is Mexican. Locked in.
So number 1 was actually the OG American Coke.
Oh, what?
Number 2 was Coke Zero.
Okay.
Number 3 you got correct.
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke. 4 you got correct. Pepsi.
And number 5.
And 5 you got correct, which is Mexican.
Okay, Mexican Coke with cane sugar. I could absolutely tell. Even though, again, nutritionally speaking, there's no real big difference to your body between these two, I personally could detect a very big difference between the two. As soon as I tasted this, I knew it was Mexican Coke, especially in comparison to the others. Now, obviously, we can talk about the difference between Diet, Zero, and regular and how there's calories and no calories. But as far as cane sugar and high fructose corn syrup, there really is no big difference other than that preference.
I'm telling you, same sugar content, different taste. And honestly, if that were the sole reason, I'd be all for it. But saying it's healthier is honestly disingenuous. Neither is technically worse than the other, especially in liquid form. But like I said at the top of the episode, there's serious economic ramifications to this. See, there's a reason why American Coke uses high fructose corn syrup instead of cane sugar. The US agriculture industry grows more corn than any other crop. Corn has always been the bumper crop of America's heartland, but high fructose corn syrup and the corn as main animal feed booms were both likely supercharged in the 1970s thanks to government subsidies for farmers. Essentially, the government pays farmers to grow it, whether we need it or not, which makes corn dirt cheap. And when you got cheap corn, you get cheap corn syrup. And you know what companies love to do? Not spend money. So naturally, Coke started using high fructose corn syrup to keep things nice and cheap for them. So if things go ahead with this change, the production cost is gonna become more costly. The most recent industry data shows that high fructose corn syrup costs about 20 to 30 cents per pound, while cane sugar usually costs around 40 to 50 cents per pound. Doesn't sound like much, but remember, we have to multiply that by a factor of thousands or even millions because of how much Coke is made, which means it's gonna cost more to make, and therefore is gonna sell at a higher price to cover these costs. That's just how business works. But it's not just the cost of sodas we need to be worrying about. Coke is up there as one of the largest buyers of high fructose corn syrup, using it for most of their beverages. If they stop using it though, the demand will plummet, and by extension, US corn will too. This creates a chain reaction. It'll impact farmers' incomes, particularly in states where corn production is big like Iowa. But also, all the other jobs related to converting corn into high fructose corn syrup could be affected by this drop in demand. People in the food manufacturing industry could lose their jobs. This decision could cost the jobs of thousands of people and communities within the Corn Belt, all for a health benefit that doesn't really exist. That said, places like Florida, Louisiana, or Texas, where the climate makes it possible to grow sugarcane, could see a huge economic benefit because they would become the sole supplier for these industries. They are seeing dollar bills, y'all. Unfortunately, this still has its setbacks, as if this dog pile isn't bad enough, because even at the moment, the cane sugar production within the US only covers a fraction of the US sweetener needs, and still relies on importing it from elsewhere. There's no way those
Which is kind of awkward But if you think about it, if for example there was some individual that likes tariff,
states would be able to ramp up production nearly enough to cover it all. In 2019/2020, there was an all-time high amount imported at 3.38 million metric tons of sugar. That is a sugar ton. So with Coca-Cola wanting to use cane sugar, we're gonna have to import even more.
Here's the thing though, there is a secret third option, another sweetener that could be a better alternative, sugar beets.
The US is already one of the top 5 producers of sugar beets in the world. Sugar beets can be made and refined into beet sugar and is 99.9% sucrose, chemically identical to cane sugar. The reason this is a better alternative is that sugar beets grow best in a temperate climate, one that doesn't get too hot or too cold, just like the Corn Belt in the US. So sugar beets
the thing about it is the fact of the numbers game. Does it have the same amount of yield in terms of quantity? You know,
could replace where the corn is currently growing.
This is actually what a lot of other countries do with their sugar supplies, like the UK or countries in Europe like the Netherlands. And guess what? In those countries, Coca-Cola uses beet sugar as their sweetener, so it's not completely unheard of.
With a similar climate, the US can pivot, and those people who may lose jobs from a lack of demand for corn could easily shift to growing sugar beets. It's not a perfect solution since the entire corn belt isn't fully suited to growing sugar beets, but if corn really is out of the conversation, there could be a world where US sugarcane production can increase to help complement the sugar beet production and fill the gap.
Problem is, this is
he makes a very good point in which do not put all your eggs in one single basket. Do not put all your eggs in one single basket. Diversify so that if one was to GG or gonna tariff or some chemically not suitable or social media just cancel media, so on and so forth, or unfortunately disease, something happens to that particular crop they're using, at least you don't GG your entire company. You got a vast range of diversity.
is just a theory to minimize the economic gut punch that this change could bring about. But it wouldn't be cheap. Sure, the agricultural impact would be smaller, and the economy wouldn't suffer as much from such a pointless change. But beet sugar wouldn't be any healthier. There's no such thing as healthy when you're drinking 39 grams of sugar in a single can. The problem isn't the sweetener, it's the amount, it's the excess. That is a conversation we should be having. Sugar consumption is down across the country, but on average, young people are still having 1 can of soda a day. It doesn't matter if it's high fructose corn syrup or cane sugar or beet sugar, the impact it has on your health is the same either way.
And who knows, if it all fails, maybe they'll just go back to the original recipe. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Buen provecho.
And hey, want to see more? Make sure to click the link on the screen now. And as always, I'll see you next week. Bye!
Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Buen provecho. Thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoy this. Hope to see you in my next video. Subscribe. Bye-bye. Subscribe. Bye-bye.